We've got attorney Scott Stark's deposition. You know, the slimy attorney from Clearwater that LIEnette begged, please take my case, when she said nobody would take her case. Now, let's get the reality of this. Deuce and Stark came together like this, right? All right, they're working together, and you're gonna see that in the deposition. You're gonna see a lot of other incriminating things. What else is going on with depositions? The world wants to know, what about Marli Huge? Well, she was scheduled to be deposed. She was served and she attempted to actually arrive, except the court reporter was ill. So that is actually being rescheduled. Dodgy Robbie, who kept dodging his service, was served at the Webster Flea Market, where he goes grifting for food every Monday. Now, let's see that Lisa Repulse. See, you know, the head walrus? Well, she's facing contempt and sanctions. Okay, so why would Scott Stark, as he tried to dodge his deposition, actually finally do the deposition? Because he understands that he could have faced contempt and sanctions as well. We're gonna have a fun, dramatic reading with one of the other defendants in this case, Larry Foreman, the DUI guy plus.
We're here with none other than the DUI guy, Larry Foreman. DUI guy plus, because he was added to a thumbnail lawsuit by Scott Stark representing LIEnette, or LIEnut, or Lacey, or Lucy, or Ruby, or Alexis. Nobody really knows, to be honest. So today, Larry, who do you want to play in this deposition reading?
Oh, have you told our audience what we're doing today? We're going to be reading the deposition of none other than Scott Stark.
Who's Scott Stark, Larry?
Scott Stark is some dude who sued me in Florida.
Okay, I will be our counsel because you and I and George are all defendants in this case. I will be Randy Shotgun, which, by the way, I don't know if many people know this, but you and I and George know this. Randy is Jewish.
He is.
And so are you.
I am.
And I don't know if you know this, so am I. 10% in my DNA test. So.
Really?
Well, she's got it in her DNA, but the reality is I have Jesus in my heart, so I'm going to claim 100%. So
I love it. I love it. I dig it. Did you do like a 23andMe? How did you find out?
Yeah, did we do 23andMe or was it another one?
We did.
Ancestry?
We did something similar. Yeah.
Something similar. Yep.
Got you.
So as we get into this actual case and the reading of the deposition, many people may not understand why Scott Stark was actually deposed. So the reason Scott Stark was deposed was for information because we are filing for sanctions. In other words, they filed a frivolous lawsuit. Then they withdrew their frivolous lawsuit, which cost us all money. Not one defendant, multiple, 4 defendants. Tap's not in here right now. And so now we're suing for that money to get all that money back. And we wanted Scott Stark's deposition to prove the guilt on their part, that they knew that this was frivolous. And he admits it in the deposition, which we're about to get to.
Exactly. All right. Let's get to it.
All right, you want to start? I think the funniest part is as we get into this paperwork, number one, Scott Stark is so clueless. He's filing motions with the wrong case numbers because there is the Trespass 5 case and the thumbnail case. He's using the wrong case numbers. He's even inverted. He switched up the defendants and the plaintiffs. He doesn't even know who he's representing, what he's doing, which is proving the point that he's doing nothing, that Deuce is actually using him as a pawn, using his name illegally. And people are going, was this really illegal? When it's not disclosed in these legal documents,
right,
it's illegal. He can be legally a part of it if it's disclosed legally, but it has not been disclosed, which makes it illegal. Proving Scott Stark has no clue. He's completely messed up everything in the court system. And we should just jump right in. How about George? Can you be the court reporter today?
Yes, I will definitely be the court reporter.
So if George starts, can you throw the transcript up on the screen, Larry?
Yeah, I'm on it.
She's the court reporter. She's going to give us the first few 12 lines as well. I'll be Mr. Shockett, Randy Shockett, which I counted a blessing and a privilege to actually play that part. And Larry, you're going to be Scott Stark.
None other.
Can't wait.
Hey, Mr. Stark, I have to ask before we get into this deposition: is your health healthy enough today for this this video?
Yes, it is.
All right, George. All right, we're going to start on page 4, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, George, you're up.
Right.
We're going to start right at the top.
All right, the following pages constitute the deposition of Scott R. Stark, Esquire, taken at the instance of the defendants upon oral examination, taken pursuant to notice on the 27th day of January 2025 at 10:10 a.m. Eastern Standard via Zoom video conferencing, Florida. The deposition is being taken for the purpose of discovery, use at trial, or for both of the foregoing, or for such other uses and purposes that may be permitted under the applicable and governing rules. Taken before Connie J. Hunnings, court reporter and notary public, and in and for the state of Florida at large.
All right, I'm up. But before I get up, I want to give a little background. First of all, Scott Stark was served, and his wife, who's also his paralegal and his assistants, tried to slam the door in the process server's face and claimed they were not properly served, even though Scott Stark actually did get his deposition, because he knows he would have been sued then for contempt and for sanctions on that as well. Now, prior to this deposition, he claimed that his computers were all broken, he couldn't be deposed, but he was using a phone to claim all this, which he could just call in, which he did. All right, so that being said, here we go.
Wait, so he didn't use his smartphone to hop on Zoom?
He's not that smart, George. He's not that
Oh.
smart. All right, now I have
Rumor
to
has it he doesn't own a smartphone.
I have to get into character, and if you
Okay.
know, you know now. All right, I got to be a lawyer. I got to be Randy's smooth. Okay, here we go. Scott Stark is on the we're here on the record now. Scott Stark is on the. He just hung up. Man, I really wish you would. Did you hear him a little bit?
I heard like a little, I couldn't even make it out.
All he said was hello, and all he said was hello. Like, stay on the record.
Okay.
We're talking to Scott Stark. Miss Hunnings was on the line. We hadn't started to record yet. We briefly start the record, and Mr. Stark was on the line, and he just said that he's not going to. He first said that he had computer issues, and he agreed to do it by audio only. He did say a few things to Mrs. Hunnings. She couldn't hear him that well, so we're all going to give him the call-in number, and he literally just hung up. So we're going to dial it again now. You want to be unidentified speaker as well?
Sure. Calls to this number are being screened by Smart Call Blocker. Please say your name after the tone and then press pound.
In other words, he's screening the calls from Randy. He's screening calls. He knows he stepped in it. This, Mr. Shockett goes on to say, this is attorney Randy Shockett of Shockett Law Group in Trenton, Florida. We're here on the record. We were on the record briefly.
Calls to this number are being screened by Smart Call Blocker. Please say your name after the tone and then press pound.
Attorney Randy Shockett with the court reporter.
Please wait a moment while your call is connected. Does he have the same Zoom instructions that I have?
He does, but he's having computer problems.
But I mean, the number to the call is also on there. If you can't get through by video, you can call.
Connie, wait. He's trying to speak. Hello?
Yeah, this is, yeah, you called me?
Okay, let's get started.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
All right, would you swear the witness in, please?
Mr.
Yes, she's going to swear you in. Whereupon, go ahead, read that part.
Whereupon Scott R. Stark, Esquire, was called as a witness, having been first duly sworn to speak the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, was examined and testified as follows.
I swear, yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you are Scott Stark, a registered licensed attorney in the state of Florida.
Yes.
Now, let's just pause right there, Larry. You know as well as I do, he didn't pay his attorney fees in the state of Florida. To my knowledge, he has not updated paying his fees. So, to my knowledge, this is a direct and willingly and knowingly lie. Do you know, has he updated his fees?
I haven't checked in several months. We can actually check right now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well, because
Yeah.
this is the first of many lies.
Sure.
So Scott Stark trying to get out of the deposition, and Scott Stark then throwing Deuce under the bus. Scott Stark knowing nothing what is truly going on, and I'm sure Larry's going to share more with us a conversation that he had with Scott Stark, which is referenced in this deposition.
No, he paid them. He paid them. Member
He
in
did
good
pay.
standing, eligible to practice law in Florida.
Okay, he's eligible again. Woo! Okay. All right, that's good, since you just filed a motion that got denied for a continuance. Okay. All right, I'm back to being Mr. Shockett. And you're the attorney in 2 cases involving Jeremy Hales representing Miss Preston?
Yes.
Okay. We're here strictly limited to inquiring as to the issues in the pending motion for sanctions. That's it. So my questions to you is going to be, have you received all the filings in this case, including the motion for summary judgment?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, did you write the complaint in this case, or did somebody else write it?
I had a person help me with it, but I made the final correction and I signed it, so it's my complaint. It's my complaint.
We gotta stop right there. If he gave the final okay, why wasn't his middle initial correct? Right?
I sometimes forget what my middle
Okay,
initial is
all
because
right.
of my health problems.
So for those who may not know, there was a legal document with Scott Stark's wrong middle initial because Deuce authored it, not Scott Stark.
I'm surprised you
No
can't
clue.
blame Jeremy for
No
it,
clue.
because everything's your fault.
That's true. All right, back to being a lawyer. And okay. Who was the person that helped you? Was this an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Florida?
No, it was not.
Oh, who was the person?
Bruce Matzkin. He is an attorney from Massachusetts.
Because he got kicked out of Connecticut? Oh, wait, that's not part of it.
I am
I'm sorry.
unaware of such readings because they're not in the official transcript.
Is he involved in this case? Is he doing any legal work in this case?
Well, maybe not in this case, but he's involved in the federal case.
I got to pause there again. How can it be a maybe not? It is either a yes or a no. How can it be a maybe not? Have you ever seen anything? You're a practicing attorney, Larry.
I've seen crazy stuff, but nothing like this. No.
Okay. Right. When you say maybe, when you say maybe not, Mr. Stark, is that a yes or a no in this case?
He is not involved in this case in an official manner. He is simply helping me out.
Okay. Now, Larry, is that legal for a lawyer who's not licensed in Florida to be helping a lawyer who is licensed in Florida and not disclosing it on the motions, the writings? Is that legal?
My honest answer is maybe.
I thought you were going to go with maybe not.
It all depends. It all depends. It's the law school answer. It depends. It depends on the lawyer's level of involvement, the lawyer's control or lack of control over the case. I mean, who is calling the shots? If the out-of-state, not licensed attorney is the one who is calling all the shots and simply using the licensed attorney as a conduit, then I would say absolutely not. That is improper. But if the
Illegal.
the out-of-state attorney that's not licensed is simply maybe providing a little bit of guidance here and there, but the attorney who's licensed is doing all the bulk of the work, following the rules, etc., which we have clearly seen in this case. Rules are consistently not being followed. Then no, that's not proper.
Yeah. And not to mention, Deuce also has proclaimed very proudly online that he filed the motions for LIEnette CROOK in the federal case,
Sure.
which he never disclosed. And that's what makes it illegal. And the funny part is that then LIEnette CROOK filed because they said they're indigent and they need a lawyer supplied for them. And the magistrate writes back and goes, really? Because it looks like you have figured out this system very well on your own already. When Deuce was writing and illegally not disclosing that he was writing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what's going on here as well.
It made it look
Very
like they were
cool.
writing it themselves, pro se.
Yep.
Which is not
And
the
that's
way
the
to do things.
illegal part of it.
Yep.
That's the illegal part of it.
So when you compare the motions that Bruce Ghost wrote for LIEnette CROOK versus their motions of being indigent and needing a court-appointed lawyer, the grammar is off. There's no punctuation, run-on sentences. You can clearly tell there's like a difference in the intellect of the writing and the motions.
Sure.
Okay, I understand. All right. So do you have the lawsuit? Can we agree it involves use of images of your client by several different defendants you named?
Yes.
Okay, well, do you have any examples of the use of your client's images that you would support your claims in this case?
Well, yes, of course I do. I don't have them with me right now. I can't even produce them immediately, but yeah. We do have these images. Oh yeah.
Would you agree to provide them to me? I mean, you were asked in the subpoena today to bring them with you.
I don't have them. Our computers are down, and I don't. I'm not lying about that. I am not lying about that.
So are you stating that your computer died, but your computer didn't die?
I plead the 7th, I think.
I understand. That's what I'm saying.
Images.
I understand. You go ahead.
I will provide you with the images.
And then you'll provide me with the images when your computer isn't dead anymore. Literally says back up, but
or as soon as possible. Yes.
all right. Thank you. Do you recall those images as you sit here today?
Recall them exactly?
Yeah, or even generally.
Yes, I recall them generally. Sure.
So are the images of Miss Preston appearing in thumbnails for Facebook or YouTube posts?
That's my assumption. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
The lawyer representing her. Oh my! But he's in control of all of this, all these documents, right?
You can't make this
He has
stuff up, folks.
no clue.
You can't. I'm reading this for the first time, and I am like, I'm just having the time of my life. Just so you
This
know.
is the first thing I read when I woke up this morning, and I was dying laughing. I couldn't believe it. Okay, all right, okay. He's not sure.
I don't know.
My assumption.
Okay, all right. I gotta be a lawyer. Okay, all right. Did you investigate prior to filing this complaint as to whether those images even existed?
Oh yeah. With Mr. Matskin, yes, and I talked to my client several times. Oh yes.
Oh, okay. So how can you tell us, as an attorney, what your understanding of the statute is? Is it if somebody posts an image of anyone on Facebook thumbnail without their consent, that they're liable financially under the statute that you filed?
That's
You filed your complaint under.
that is my understanding.
Okay, so there's probably a lot of images your client on Facebook now. Do you know? Do you agree?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so
I'm making this a big, production of her on YouTube. I'm sure there is, but we'll talk about the matters in question.
right. So how many images do you have that you recall that you're going to produce when your computer is back up?
Um, mm, uh, I cannot recall.
Right, but is it 1,000? Is it 10? Is it 10,000? A million?
Much closer to 10 than a million.
Okay, right. I got you. All right, all right.
But a reasonable amount, yes.
All right, all right. And you had mentioned wanting a continuance in this case. Did you get my email saying that we need to meet and confer?
I did not receive that email, so I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. I have not received that email.
All right. Well, let's go off the record just for a second. This is between the attorneys, and then there's a discussion off the record. Now, Larry, do you want to explain as a lawyer why there's a conferring discussion off the record right now?
My guess, seeing as to what the trajectory has been of this deposition, my suspicion is that Randy wanted to clarify off the record with Mr. Stark exactly what images there are, what kind of images, where are they, how soon they can receive them, and so on. That's a conjecture. I don't have any evidence to support it, but I think it was just simply Randy's attempt to kind of take the pressure off Scott and be like, "Look, buddy, let's just talk man to man here real quick. Can you tell me like what you have and what you don't have, just so that I know for my own purposes." That's what I think happened, but it could have been anything. For all we know, they could have been talking about taking a lunch break, which would be weird since the deposition was probably only going for about 7 to 10 minutes. But you never know.
Yeah. Well, and I'll add a little bit more to this since I'm in Florida, and Larry, you're not in Florida, just so everybody understands. You're not in Florida. So new Florida law, beginning of this year, before any motion is filed, all lawyers must confer. That is the statute.
Yes, that's the new one that he violated. Yeah, that's right.
And he violated it like crazy. So Randy actually goes, listen, you violated this. We're going to go off the record. We're going to confer. Then we can go on the record again, because Randy is staying within the law as Stark and Deuce continue to break it. All right, let's go on the record. Yes, there's an issue now about concern with Mr. Stark's health problems. She's going to go in on the record. Go ahead.
Okay. I am suffering from diabetes and
Anything else?
congestive heart failure.
It sounds like your computer isn't the only thing that's going to die today.
So, excuse me, I am speaking. As we speak right now, I'm going to cardiac rehab for my congestive heart failure. Okay, I mean, it's Monday, Wednesday, and it's Friday from 12 o'clock. Well, excuse me, no, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
He knows nothing about the case, and he knows nothing about his actual rehab.
In the meantime, I'm also in the process of cataracts, getting treated for cataracts. Okay. I mean, I had an insurance. I had an insurance glitch that delayed it from January to February. Sometime in February, I don't have the exact appointment date. I'm gonna have to go in and restart the whole process with getting prepared for cataract surgery. A lot of things going on, so that's why that's why I filed a motion for continuance, among many other reasons.
Okay, but you wrote in your motion that you wanted until the 14th to file a response to the motion for sanctions. Is that still valid?
Yes, sir. It's still valid.
Okay, so then here's my question. I'm sorry to hear about your health issues, believe me. But I don't understand. You've had months and months. This motion was filed in September to write a response to it. Is there any reason why you waited until now?
Well, these health issues have been ongoing, so.
Okay, now I happen to. All right, let's. Okay. So do you recall in this case, I don't want to get into what was discussed in the settlement, but your office reached out to me for permission for you to speak to Larry Foreman, who's a defendant and my client in this case. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and Larry Foreman called you and you eventually spoke to him, right?
I don't remember talking to Mr. Foreman after Mr. Matskin talked to him. I don't remember speaking to Larry Foreman. No.
No. I'm sorry. It was a bad question. I meant Larry Foreman did speak with you and your office as part of my saying, yes, you can talk directly with him. You have my permission, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know that when Larry Foreman called your office the first time, your assistant said that you weren't there, that you were at the gym?
Well, that is part of my cardiac rehab. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 3 times a week.
Okay,
That's probably, I was not present, so I wasn't there when she said that. It's possibly she might have said it, so that's where we're at.
Let's pause right there. Larry, can you explain what this conversation is about and what truly happened?
So it was the Friday before Thanksgiving, November, whatever it was. I received a message from Randy earlier that day. It was like 11 something in the morning. I remember we were shopping for furniture because Chandler and I just arrived at the furniture store. And I got a call from Randy. We're still in the car. We haven't exited yet. We just arrived. And I pick up the phone and I say, hey, man, what's up? What's going on? And he said, well, we received a strange email from Scott and or Bruce stating that they would like to do a settlement conference with you. And I said, okay. And he said, you don't have to do it. You're under no obligation. But because I also represent Jeremy, you, and George, he said they want to confer with me directly, because if they do it through Randy, you theoretically, Randy has an obligation to Jeremy, to George, to me as well, and kind of separate me from the herd, which is really suspect to begin with when you're trying to manipulate one of the parties and try and pin them against the other parties is always a disgusting thing to think about. But I said, look, I want to know what the heck they want. I'd love to speak to them. And he gave me their phone number. Randy lets Scott know that I'm going to be reaching out. And I called them. It was I remember exactly, like I said, because it was a very, very eventful day. I made 3 phone calls that day to Scott Stark's office. The first one came at 12:30 p.m., at which point his secretary / paralegal / wife told me that he is currently at the gym and he will.
Now, pause right there, because based on his deposition, that doesn't go with his timeline on the times that he's at the gym for his cardiac rehab. Go ahead, keep going.
Good catch. I didn't even think of that. You're absolutely right. He said 1 to 2. And I called at 12:30. I mean, look, in my no. I will give him the benefit, because if the gym thing starts at 1, I mean, you're not gonna leave at 1, right? You might leave at 12:30. So maybe he just left. We can give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if you want to, but
I'm not giving him any benefits. I'm not giving it. You can give him the benefit of the doubt. He's the one that got into this mess. I'm not giving him any benefits.
I will crap on the guy for all the things he did wrong, but this one, I don't know. Whatever. So 12:30 is when I called. She said he's at the gym. I said, okay, what time is he going to be back? She said around 3 o'clock. I said, okay, no problem. I'll call around that time. It was around 3:05. I made the second phone call of the 3 that I made that evening, or that afternoon rather. And I called right when he was coming through the door. So she picks up the phone again. The wife says, "Who? Mr. Foreman. He just walked in. Give me just a moment." And then I can hear in the background she's yelling, "Scott!" And Scott is, coming in, and he's just like, "What? Who is it?" "It's Mr. Foreman on the line." And he's just like, just basically tell him I just came from the gym. Like, I can't talk to him right now. And she's like, he's a little busy right now. He can't talk. Call back later. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll call back later. Now, fast forward to 5 o'clock. Now it's like 4:55, almost the end of the day. I'm like, okay, surely he has taken a shower. He's recovered, done a few things, whatever. So I call a third time. And like, you guys want to do a settlement conference with me, like, why am I having to reach out to you? And I'm very confused. But the wife essentially punts me off again, saying, "Excuse me, Mr. Foreman, we actually end at 3. And when I say, "Look, lady, you told me to call," before I could finish the sentence, I was going to say, "You told me to call you back later." I said, I was in the middle of the sentence. I said, you told me to. And she said, let's be civil. He's busy right now. We will call you next week. Like Thanksgiving week. I said, okay. I didn't hear back from them for another 5 weeks when the settlement conference happened in like late December. Oh yeah, we were already moving into the new house. That's how long they took 5 weeks to schedule the settlement conference. True story.
Wow.
Well, the reality is it was never with Scott. It was all with Deuce. And I know the history of what happened. Obviously, we have communicated. Our friendship continues to grow. You're going to be down here for the sanctions hearing. We're going to put you up in the What the Hale's B&B, and we're going to have some fun, no doubt. So, who actually did you talk to, and how many words did even Scott Stark even say to you during this call?
Scott said 2 words to me the entire phone call. Essentially, hello and goodbye. And everything in between was between me and Bruce.
So Scott's claiming that he's the lead on all of this. He's screwing up all of the filings, and he doesn't even say anything to you. It's all Deuce.
100%.
And he wants to settle with you. Yeah.
Well, so the settlement conference went in a way that I did not expect it to go. I was expecting them to say, pay this much, or that's usually how settlement conferences go. The only reason you file a lawsuit as an attorney is to get paid, to get your client paid, and to get you paid. You don't become a plaintiff because you just want to have some fun, unless your name is Bruce Matskin, I suppose, and you're crazy. They asked me to just change some of the thumbnails that were not changed, to which, well, Bruce didn't know this at the time. I was actually leading him on a little bit, unbeknownst to him. I can let it fly now since the lawsuit is dismissed. But I was hoping to kind of give him a little bit of an aura of confidence that I'm gonna be his buddy, and meanwhile I'm gonna be screwing him over behind his back because he is not my friend. He sued me, and now he wants to be buddies. No, thank you. So I kind of I let him do his thing, and he sent me an email to which I never replied about what he wanted me to do, and he said, in exchange, all you have to do is literally something that would have taken me 10 seconds. Do you understand this, Jeremy? 10 seconds it would have taken me to do what he asked me to do. That's not a settlement conference. That is a trap, if I've ever heard one. So I told him that I was going to do it, but I never actually did anything, and therefore he dismissed the lawsuit a week later, maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember the exact timeline there. but he dismissed the entire lawsuit. But the funny thing is, he dismissed it first against me. And then he dismissed it against all of you guys because he had the motion prepared. I think he filed the wrong one on accident.
He did.
He had that one prepared in the event that I would comply with his terms, which I never did. So the settlement never came to fruition. And then he just dismissed the lawsuit anyway. So all of that is moot anyway.
So I want to be very clear. He went to you for a settlement, but he didn't come to us. We will not negotiate. We will not settle. And we are going to hold all of these individuals, including Stark, including Deuce, to the fullest extent of the law. And if that means I have to spend every last penny, then I will keep making money because I don't go out and grift off of other people's names and coattails. I work. And Larry, you work.
I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I was like, what could you possibly tell me? What could you... Come on, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
Sure. I love it. Okay, all right, let's jump back in. Okay, so how did you tell us how you got involved in this case? Did Miss Preston contact you?
Yes, she contacted me through a lawyer referral protocol, LOLyer.com.
So I want to be clear. I don't believe any of this whatsoever. I believe Deuce made the contact and then handed it off to LIEnette. So I don't believe this at all. And there will be more subpoenaed information and documents that will be coming that will prove this premises that I'm sharing right now. And it'll be within the courts.
By the way, I have used LOLyer.com. I know that service and I know how it works. There is a track record in your leads. You can subpoena, and you can pass this along to Randy, and I will myself if you don't get to him first. You can go into your dashboard on LOLyer.com and look at every lead you have ever received through LOLyer.com. So we can subpoena the records from
Scott Stark,
of his profile on LOLyer.com, and it will have all the emails, phone numbers, and what have you of potential clients that have reached out through that platform. So we can verify that very, very easily whether it happened or not.
We will verify it within the courts. Okay, and how did
and also he can't hide behind the fact of it was so long ago. These records go back from to the moment you created your account, unless you actively delete it, which is destruction of evidence, which is a crime. It will be there.
Okay, how did Mr. Deuce Foreskin contact you?
Mr. Madskin, I think is what you're trying to say, contacted me after Ms. Preston came on board and says, I'm helping her out through all of these cases involving Jeremy Hales, and maybe we can cooperate on these.
Now, I got to pause there again because he makes a fatal error there. What cases? There's a federal case. That's the case. There is a federal case. The only other cases, now we have Ohio. They've already been found guilty. Now there are more Ohio cases coming against them. But at this point in time, this has nothing to do with Bruce contacting Stark and saying, hey, I'm helping with these cases. There are no cases. There's a federal case. So it is they that brought these frivolous cases. It is so he screws up in his terminology yet again, proving Deuce is behind all of this. All right, back into this. Did you enter into an agreement, a written agreement to provide legal services to Miss Preston?
Yes, I did.
Did she sign it?
Yes, I did.
No, did she sign it?
I'm not aware of that. Probably, yes. I'm not aware of that.
Larry, you're a lawyer. Have you ever represented somebody that hasn't signed their actual contract and agreement?
If they signed it, I would know about it.
My goodness, the insanity of this.
This is my first time reading this, and I am baffled.
This is lie after lie. Okay, can you, if you,
I mean, it's probably, Yes, and I assume yes, but I mean, so I am not sure.
How can any lawyer, how can any lawyer not know? Okay, if you have it, can you provide it to me?
Yeah, we can produce it.
Okay, to your recollection, are you charging her?
Oh yes.
What's your hourly rate?
Oh, it was a flat fee. I don't have any. I think it was a flat fee about $3,000.
Okay, a flat fee? Gotcha, gotcha. All right. And she paid that?
Yes, she did that.
Okay.
She's been keeping. It was like, I believe, and don't hold me to this. To the best of my recollection, it was 1,500 down and $300 a month afterwards.
So is she now paid in full?
I believe so.
I gotta pause there, man. What lawyer doesn't know that their clients aren't paid in full as they're going in for sanctions hearings and they're not going to work? Lawyers don't work for free. I'm sorry. Deuce
How much
isn't
your name
even.
is,
Deuce isn't even working for free. He has been very, very vocal. He's doing it for promotion. He's doing it for fame. He wants to make money off of this. He's scamming LIEnette and Crook. And so, do you know of any lawyers, Larry? You know a lot of them that wouldn't know whether their clients were paid up or not.
That is literally the number one thing every lawyer will have at the top of their mind. Am I paid in full or not? Can I finish the job, or do I need to chase the client for more money? And if they're not paying, do I withdraw? I mean, come on. That's literally rule number one. Every lawyer knows that.
I can't wait to see these documents. I don't believe what's in the deposition. I can't wait to see that. And one of the reasons why we are deposing others as well is for information which is incriminating, such as Scott Stark is incriminating himself and Deuce here. And then that will be further gone on in the fullest extent of the law as well. Okay, did you, and again, I understand this is just based on recollection, but do you have any recollection? Strike that. Just let me ask you. You read the summary judgment motion, correct?
Yes.
Did you do any research into the cases that were provided in the summary judgment motion?
As of right now, no.
Okay. Is there any reason why since you dismissed this? Is there any reason why since you dismissed this case, correct?
Which case?
The case that we're here in the deposition of right now, that we call the thumbnail case, the one that's set for motion for sanctions, you dismissed it, right?
As far as as far as for Foreman, yes.
No, not just Foreman. You dismissed it for everybody. Are you not aware of that?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, that's correct. Yes,
Okay. Yet again, proving he is not the lead lawyer on this at all. He is a tool being used and made of as a fool by Deuce. This is insanity. Okay, just let me ask you, why did you wait so many days after being given 21 days notice that we would seek sanctions? Why didn't you dismiss it during those 21 days?
No reason.
And any reason why you waited until after all this legal work was done with summary judgments, then to dismiss it on the eve of summary judgments?
No reason.
Okay, all right, that's it. Have you been truthful in all of your answers today?
To the best of my ability, of course.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else you want to discuss with me?
Not right now.
Okay. Do you want to read or do you want to waive the transcript?
Read it.
Can you explain that, Larry, to the viewers what that means? Do you want to read or do you want to waive?
So when you're being deposed, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you may accidentally give the wrong answer. You may mean one thing but say something different, or vice versa. And so the deponent, the person who is being deposed, always has an opportunity to review the transcript before it is submitted to the court reporter. Because once it becomes part of the record and you sign it, you can no longer change your answers. But if at one point you said yes when you actually meant no, you have a chance to review, correct any yeses or nos or what have you, any answers that you may have given. And then once those corrections are made, because you are given an opportunity, you know, court reporters are not savages. They're not just going to hold you to it, and neither will the lawyers. But the minute you agree, yes, this is it, this is correct, and this is in full, that's it. There are no more corrections after that. That's why we're doing this, because he signed it this morning.
He signed it this morning. So I think a lot of people know that you made a post, I think on Twitter or on X, that said, "Hey, Scott Stark was just deposed."
Yep.
You and I have been in communication. I've been in, and I said, "Hey, please don't release the deposition until after he signs it, because there's very incriminating things in here."
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about one of those incriminating things. There is the whole issues with Deuce, and that's going to come up in court in other cases.
Yeah.
But the major thing here is Scott Stark admits he read nothing in the case law. He did nothing
He
in the
hasn't
case.
even read the cases with respect to the motion for summary judgment, which is literally, that has been going on since like September, October.
So he will be found, and you can 100% guarantee this. He will be found guilty in regards to the sanctions hearing. He will be made to pay sanctions. He did not do his job as a lawyer.
The only thing I have to disagree, just the word usage. I know you're trying to make it.
I know.
It's not a criminal, because guilty you can only plead to a criminal offense. It's a civil infraction. It's a civil sanction for filing a frivolous lawsuit. So but everything else I absolutely agree with.
So he will be made by the courts to
liable.
Pay us back.
He'll be
all
liable.
Of our
he'll be liable to compensate or recompensate, whatever you want to call it, us for having to shell out money to hire Randy and Doreen to defend us in a frivolous lawsuit. Yeah.
Now, he's probably not going to be the only one in these frivolous lawsuits. There will be Deuce, and that'll be coming down the road as well, and any other fools that he continues to recruit from the bottom of the barrel. I mean, he's gotten felon after felon, fraudster after fraudster, scamster after scamster. I mean, this is a group of felons right now. I mean, it's insanity. So I had asked you, please don't release that until after he signs off, because he incriminated himself. He incriminated Deuce. And now he has signed off as of this morning. We are releasing it today, to the point of Mr. Shockett says, so Ms. Hunnings, could you please reach out to him right now and tell him how he can read the transcripts? And I'm gonna order the transcripts expedited. Go ahead, Ms. Hunnings.
Okay, Ms. Okay, let me give you to my assistant so you can give her the information, okay?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Scott. Feel better.
Whereupon the deposition concluded at 10:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and reading and signing by the witness was not waived.
Larry, your first time seeing this, and there's the certificate of oath right there as well, and from the court reporter, from George. And your first time reading this, what are your overwhelming thoughts right now?
Well, I had a little bit of a preview. I did talk to Randy about this, so he gave me. I recognized a few items here on the deposition, so that was kind of interesting to see them in Scott's words. I have never in my life represented a client that I don't know the case law, that I don't know the facts, I don't know if I have a signed agreement or not, where I don't know who the defendants are, where I don't know who has been represented. The motion that I filed to dismiss, I don't know who I filed it to dismiss against. I mean, it was clear that he stated, yeah, it was dismissed against Mr. Foreman because that was probably one of the conversations that Bruce and Scott had. Like, look, you know, they had this settlement conference, and so Scott thinks, yeah, we had the settlement conference. He probably agreed, and we probably dismissed it against him. And then Randy has to correct him. No, you dummy. You dismissed it against everybody the day after Christmas. Did you forget? Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot. I mean, how do you even say that as the attorney of record? The only attorney of record. Because Bruce is not in any of the filings. His name doesn't appear anywhere. He's a ghost. He's a shadow. He's a phantom.
Who can't even get Scott Stark's middle initial correct.
Exactly. I think it's become all too clear now who the master writer and master director of this case is, and it's Bruce. But Scott, I don't know if I feel bad for him. Like, honestly, I'm trying to figure out the level of manipulation that Bruce has, you know, the level of manipulation that Bruce has
Thrusted.
That's a good word. Thrusted upon Stark. I really want to know how many promises. First of all, I want to know how many promises were made by Bruce to Stark in the very beginning. It's like, man, we're going to go after these YouTubers. One of them is almost at 500,000. One of them is approaching 1 million. Oh my God, you guys, we're going to get paid. We're going to, it's going to be raining money. We're going to make you rich. I'm going to make you famous. Scott, everybody in Florida are going to know the name Scott Stark. Well, he was right about that.
Well, yeah, everybody knows. And we have in writing that Deuce has said this to others. You're going to increase views. You're going to make more money. I can promise you these things. And here's their argument for these cases against us, myself, you, others, is stating that they're doing it for YouTube content.
We're doing it for content.
Here's Deuce out there making frivolous lawsuits and promising people views online and money for content. Scammers scamming other scammers, and their circle of scams just keeps on going.
Exactly.
Hey, can't wait to see you February 5th here for the sanctions hearing. We're gonna have a ton of fun. We're gonna hang out at the B&Bs right on the Gulf, and I guarantee you, last time we went on a boat ride. We're going to have to do some other things this next time when you come. Can't wait to hang out with you again, my friend.
It's